Hi everybody, it is April, and I have a question for you. It's actually a question that you may ask yourself. Have you ever asked yourself, what am I going to do with all those jelly rolls? They're so pretty, but I don't know what to do with them. Or, even more importantly, maybe you've asked yourself, how do I make that quilt? I don't have any jelly rolls. I'm going to answer both of those questions in this video. So, let's go. Today, I am making the perfect tutorial video. And you may wonder where I all of the sudden learned how to make the perfect, engaging tutorial video. I learned it on Skillshare, and Skillshare is sponsoring today's video. So now before you click away, don't, because I am going to answer the questions that I just asked you if you ever ask yourself. You know what the answer is? It is called Jelly Rainbow. Well, actually, there are two answers. So, Jelly Rainbow is the pattern. That's the answer to what am I going to do with all those jelly rolls? The answer to I don't have any jelly rolls, how do I make that quilt? That is June Taylor's shape cut ruler. But I want to talk to you first about how I learned how to do the perfect, engaging video. And I learned it on Skillshare. Now, Skillshare is a site that is for creatives, by creatives. I have been using Skillshare for I don't even know how long now. I have used it to figure out how to use Canva, to build my website, to make fabric on my own, and so many more things. And I will put a link to some of the videos below. For this video, I found a class on how to make the perfect tutorial video and use SEO to get those videos discovered. I'm going to apply what I learned in this video. So the first thing I need to do in a perfect tutorial video is I need to answer a question that my audience has, or I need to solve a problem that my viewers have. So the first thing I did was ask, what am I going to do with all those jelly rolls? And I've already answered that question. Number two, what if I don't have any jelly rolls, but I want to make that quilt? I've answered that question already as well. The June Taylor shape cut. Sorry for the glare. They didn't go over that yet. So I have answered two questions or solved two problems. If you would like to try Skillshare, I highly recommend it. And the first 500 people who click on the link below will get 1 month of Skillshare for free. You will not regret it. There are so many classes on so many topics. It is a great place to learn new things without having to read about it. I don't know about you, but I've kind of gotten used to not really reading, but listening. And I am a visual learner. So seeing words on a page, that doesn't resonate with me as much as a visual picture and somebody sharing what they're doing for me to learn it. Now what I'm going to do is I am going to share with you how I made this quilt using yardage of fabric, and it is Tula Pink. Let's get into that Tula Pink fabric, cut it up, and make this beautiful Jelly Rainbow quilt. Even more good news for you, the Jelly Rainbow Quilt is a free pattern from Ruby Star Society. So I will also put a link in my description box so that you can go out and you too can have this pattern for free. So that means that I get to share all the measurements with you as we go along and make this quilt. I didn't have a jelly roll in my stash that I wanted to use for this pattern. The pattern calls for a jelly roll speckled by Rashida Coleman for Ruby Star Society. I have seen this jelly roll and this fabric. Love it. Beautiful fabric. And I don't believe that there is a duplicate in this jelly roll. There might be 2 of each, but I'm looking. I don't know. I don't know if there is or not. But the jelly rolls that I have, first of all, I couldn't even find my jelly rolls because I got everything organized in my room. Now I remembered where they were. Yay. And like I said, I've got red, white, and blue. I just didn't have anything that I thought would do this particular pattern justice. And then I was looking in my stash and I saw my Tula Pink. And I've cut up some of it, but so I have all of this Tula Pink. Some of it was very little left on my little comic book boards. And I have actually cut some of the strips. I didn't really intend to cut this many strips, but when I got started using my shape cut ruler, I just kept going and going and going. And it's like, okay, I've got to stop because I need to share how I did it with this ruler. So it's very easy. You will not regret that you did not have a jelly roll because the cutting of the fabric, just like that. So you need 42 strips of fabric. Now, some of the beauty of this quilt is that there's dark and light. And I think the placement of the light against the dark might give you a little 3D effect. So try, if possible, to have darks and lights. So here I've got some lights, and then I've got some darks as well, and then of course I've got some that are kind of in the middle. And some of these patterns already have a little 3D effect of their own, like this one. Sometimes it's hard to look at when you're sewing. So I think we'll be okay with the fabrics that I've chosen. And if you don't have dark and light, don't worry about it. This quilt is going to look great. Doesn't matter what fabric you use. So let's get to cutting with this June Taylor shape cut ruler. Now, just a little caveat. There are other ways to cut 2.5-inch strips, and we'll go over that in another video. So I'll solve, another problem for you. What can I say? This is just how I roll. I'm already going to apologize for the glare, but you gotta have lights, and lights cause glare, and this ruler, it is just a glaring ruler. But once we put fabric under it, you won't even notice. So like I said, I've got a lot of Tula Pink, most of which I have used at least some of it for other projects. Now the shape cut ruler has 0, and then you've got your dashed line, which is your 1/4 inch. I don't know if that's important to me or not. The 0 is very important to me, however. So here, my edge, it's pretty straight, but it's not perfect. So what I do is I will place this 0 line almost up to the edge, far enough from the edge that I'll trim off anything that's uneven. And then I will line up this black line, and then I will line up this black line with the fold of my fabric. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the 0 line. So that is going to get rid of anything that is uneven on the edge of your fabric. Then, because I'm cutting jelly roll strips, I'm going to cut at the 2.5 inch mark. Then I know 2.5 and 2.5 is 5. I'm going to cut 5. Then I know 5 and 2.5 is 7.5. And that's 3. I'm going to stop at 3 because I have, I think, 16 fabrics. We need a total of 42 strips. It is just that fast. So I'm going to put this in my pile. Now, at some point, I may use this fabric because I might decide that I want more of those strips. But at this point, I'm just going to stick with those that I cut. All right, now here I've got another fabric. I'm going to do exactly the same thing. And you kind of get into a rhythm. So that is how we are going to cut our strips. If you already have a jelly roll ready to go, you are already ready. The other cutting that we're going to do before we sew is we are going to take our 42-inch strip, or 40-inch, or 44, whatever it ends up being. We are going to fold it in half. The pattern suggests that you use scissors to cut on the fold, not a rotary cutter. Do I know why? No, I'm just here to give you the perfect, engaging, informative, hold on. I'm just here to give you the perfectly engaging and informative. I'm just here to give you the perfect, informative, engaging tutorial that helps you solve a problem. So I'm going to put my scissors on the fold and cut. And we want to do that with all 42 strips. Now I'm going to make sure I'm not lying to you. 1 jelly roll. I'm going to assume that there are 42 strips in that jelly roll. I wanted to show you how I organized my strip sets and how I took them to the sewing machine and sewed them together. Here are my colors in a stack of 10 strips, and I can just take these over to my sewing machine. I'm not going to be particular about what order I put them in. Is that a mistake? I don't know. We'll find out. Here are my 10 black and white strips. I will also take those over to the sewing machine, sew them together to make the 10 strips that I haven't cut down yet. So this is my black and white set, and then I have a color set. And these 2 sets would make 4 blocks. So here are my color strips all sewn together. I like to use my Steady Betty. My Steady Betty is made of some kind of material that holds things in place. And when you have strip sets, you take the chance of pressing things out of alignment. Well, Steady Betty makes sure that you don't do that. I cannot tell you why. It just doesn't let you stretch your fabric, and it's got to be the material that it's made of. It's kind of grippy, kind of sticky. It's like a foam a little bit. I press all of my seams the same way. I want to start on the 14 line, and I'm going to let's do it this way, actually. Okay. So right now I'm going to cut this edge where I have my selvages. And when I cut, I'm going to use my ruler and have the line on my ruler line up with my rows. And then I'm going to move my ruler up and the same thing. All right, now I need a 20 by 20 block. So here is 34, and 14 and 20 is 34. So I can use this 14 line to cut my block. Again, because my ruler isn't long enough to reach this far, I'm going to line up the edge of my ruler with the line on my mat, and then I'm going to line up a line along the seam of my strips. And they look pretty good. Okay, and then I'm going to move this up. Again, I'm going to line up the line on my ruler with a seam, and now I have 20 inches wide. And this should automatically be 20 inches. And you know, it's pretty close because I am not the perfect strip sewer, but we're gonna call it good. So this is my black and white, and it is now ready to go. Now we have to do that with the color. We can see if I did better on this one. It's about the same. So I think, you know, I'm gonna be happy with it. So let's turn this way. Now the first thing I'm going to do again, get rid of my selvage edges. Now I have two 20 by 20 blocks. I'm going to lay this one out with the strips going from left to right. Then I'm going to take my other 20 by 20 block, and my strips should go the opposite way. So I want the strips on my bottom unit, they're going left to right. So on my top unit, I'm going to want them to be going up and down. And then I'm going to put my two blocks together. Now, you can pin, you can clip, you can not do anything at all. Totally up to you. I am going to clip mine, and then I'm going to sew all the way around the edge. Right, so we have sewn all the way around, and this strip set, oh look, I missed one. That's okay, I'm not ripping out any stitches, I'm good with that. So we have this strip set going that way from left to right, and this going from top to bottom. Now what we are going to do is we are going to fold this over and kind of press it down, and then I am going to press it with an iron so that I get a crease that I can see. This is the worst cut of the cuts that we have to make. And if I were smart, I would go upstairs and get my longer ruler, but you know what? I like a challenge. All right, so I can still see my crease. So I'm going to start at the bottom and then lift my ruler, still going along the crease. And there, I have my first cut. Now, we are going to do the same thing, except we have half as much fabric to deal with for this cut. So we'll fold both of our half square triangles, or both of our triangles, in half. And I like for my point to be half, because that tells me I have a pretty good angle on it. So I'm going to kind of finger press that in there. I'm not going to put a lot of pressure because it will stretch. So I'm going to iron in my crease. I can really see my crease here. So I'm going to lay my ruler just to the edge of my crease and cut. And as you can see, this gives us 2 blocks. Once we cut this one, we'll have 4. What do you think? The first 4 blocks I made are right here. And I've had several conversations with some people, and we never could really get these 4 blocks into quite the orientation we wanted. I don't know if it's because some of the dark wasn't black and white. So here I've got dark purple and dark purple in with the black and white. So that might be what it is. Now this has a really cool look to it. And I like how all the color is right here in the middle. So I am going to make the other sets of blocks, and we will see what happens. I don't know what it's going to look like when it's done, but it's Tula Pink fabric, so how can you possibly go wrong? What do you think? There actually is motive to my madness. So I haven't put it all together yet, but here you can see that my black and white kind of form a diamond shape in the middle. And then here I have that diamond shape in the color. So I decided that I wanted the black and white diamond here and the color diamond here, and then the color diamond here and the black and white diamond here. Now in the center you have half and half. So here's your black and white and color, and black and white and color, and it forms a diamond in the center. There is a lot going on. I believe that's how I want it to look when I'm finished. I'm going to get this all sewn up, And I will show you pictures of it at the end. Grace is being high maintenance. Oh, she wants out. Just a minute. It is very bright, very colorful, and very Tula pink. I will put a link to this particular pattern in the description below. 3 Quilt Amigas. The retreat is coming up. Link in the description below. Let me know if you have questions. The trip of a lifetime going to Ireland. Link in the description below. It's about time to make that decision. So let me know if you're interested and have any questions. I appreciate you. I am so thankful that you are watching. Now, perfect tutorial. So we solve some problems. What do I do with the jelly rolls? You make a jelly roll rainbow quilt. What if I don't have jelly rolls? You use your shape cut ruler to cut out those 2.5-inch strips. How can I keep my fabric from stretching when I press it? It's called a Steady Betty. Love it. You will too. I think that's it. Let me know if you think this is the perfect tutorial. I'm glad that this is at the end of the video when most people have dropped. So maybe I won't get too many comments saying, yeah, I don't think so. Have a great day. Eat some chocolate and be kind to everyone. Until next time, bye. Seriously? Oh. Okay. So here are my colors in a strap.